And welcome back to Mentor, business mentorship in real time. Hi, Alyssa.
Hello, Willows.
How are you doing?
Pretty good.
That's good.
How are you?
What?
Wait. How are you?
Same as always.
Hmm.
What do you need mentorship on today?
You want to just talk about what we're doing in real life right now?
What are we doing in real life, pray tell?
Business stuff.
You're going to need to give me more of a prompt than that, my friend.
You know about it. So I figured we could kind of talk about the how it's been lately for us with the transition between running a company and doing everything to leaning more into like an actual like management kind of role where you're not just a underpaid, overworked employee, and how that's been for us.
Yeah, so I think
Are you comfortable with this?
yeah, I'm trying to follow exactly what you're asking.
Do you want me to I'll get my notes. I wrote
Okay.
a couple points
Okay.
on here
All right.
that I think would be just to give you. I never give you any context. By the way, I never give him any context to what we're going to talk about every day.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll be talking in real life and she'll go and then write something down on her phone and I'll be like, "What?" And she'll like nothing.
You just
And
wait.
then it'll come back up on a podcast a week later. So.
Exactly. You gotta keep it on your toes.
Yeah.
So this is what I have written down right now. So it's making the switch from employee/owner who does everything to an actual management position. And the bullet points are: 1, how different it's been mentally. Sometimes people are harder to deal with than actually just doing the actual work. Do I even have my time back? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. What does the timeline even look like? Setbacks? And I hope that's enough for you to work with.
So I think what we're talking about is something that I'm sure you've heard if you're on this side of financial social media at all, which is the difference between working on your business and working in your business. And funny enough, my uncle said that to me the other day when I was telling him about this.
Businessman.
We were at a funeral and I was like telling him about he's my only family member that's also an entrepreneur, and I see him once a year or once every 2 years, and I was telling him about this, and that's exactly the line that he said: working on your business, not in your business.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is when you're in the startup phase and when you're an entrepreneur, you're doing everything yourself. You're wearing a lot of hats. You're doing the entire job and you're working long hours and doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
But soon you realize that you can't do all of it just physically. We talked in an episode a few weeks ago where we were hiring our first employees, and I hired my first employee when I physically when we had to do things at the same time and I physically can't be in two places at once. Not the one I respect less is people being like, I already work 8 hours a day. I need I don't know about that. But anyway. But this conversation is a little bit different than that, I think.
Agreed.
Where
100%.
this is more about optimizing the business and not hiring so you can do less work, but optimizing so you can do better work.
I agree. And I think because I know for you, I would say you're trying to move into a position where you're really trying to scale.
Yeah.
Not just one business, but 3.
Yeah.
And so I think at that point, it still goes back to the same. You just can't be there physically in all 3 places at once. But also what's a better use of your time?
Yeah, and I think for context, all 3 of my businesses, I spend about equal time there, 8 hours a day approximately. So what is that? 8, 16, 24? Oh no, that's everything. So it can't be equal.
I guess business 1 and 2, you could probably.
No, business 2 and 3.
Oh no, sorry, 2 and 3. My gosh, you can lump together a little bit
more.
more.
We need the flow chart. Yeah,
I need.
Business 2 and 3 are in the same building. When I purchased business 3, because it's in the same industry, I got rid of the other building and moved their employees into my first building. So it's separate brands and separate companies in the building, but it's under the same roof. So the time I spend there is with both companies, more or less.
But you're like, yeah, you're splitting your time up between the two.
between the two, but yeah. So I do 8 hours, 4 days a week there. And then some days, if there's just a lot going on, some days it's 10, 12, 14 hours.
Oh yeah.
And then 4 days a week, ish, I'm leaving there and then going to bartend at business number one, which is a winery, until from 4 p.m. to like 10 o'clock at night, 10, 11 after we clean and get everything leave. And then in the summer, which we're in right now, I spend also 4 days, a different, like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I spend going to farmers markets and other things as well.
Yeah.
And then random Sundays, random Saturdays, I do
Yeah,
events
like
and different
super
things.
big events. Yeah.
So that's like my work I do that's like in the office doing the job. And then obviously all my clerical work on top of that. And then obviously trying to manage the employees, which we now, between all three businesses, have, I guess, 12 employees and 3 contractors on the farm.
Yeah.
So managing all that and then try to grow the business as well, obviously. So advertising, I do all the social media myself and all that stuff. So I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm just trying to, if it sounded like that, I'm trying to paint a picture of the situation that I'm in. And a lot of that stuff, save like maybe the advertising, some of the strategic meetings I do, most of that is not growing the business much. Now it could, based on like good customer service, word of mouth advertising, like blah blah blah, but it's not like me actively trying to grow the business. Luckily I have a business partner that does a lot of stuff as well. He doesn't work as many hours as I do, but works a lot as well. And then he works mostly on he goes between the 3 businesses, doing a lot of optimization, new equipment, new systems, new supply chains, stuff like that. He's really good for and has a really good mind for. So I don't have to worry about like if the business is like operating mechanically. I more focus on the employees functioning and the money coming in. And then he works on the money going out, basically. So that's kind of the situation we're in up until this year.
Yeah.
Basically, which is, for context, I know you're not really supposed to date these, just in case people are watching from future.
But I think it's good for.
Yeah, but we're in June, early June of 2026, right at this moment. And as of like January, so about 6 months ago, not quite, me and you sat down, because you're my barman. You work for all 3 companies, but you're mostly spending your time at business one as my bar and kitchen manager, and then you work part-time for business number 2 managing our ribbon department, which is the smallest department of the company, but still relevant, like still requires 10, 15, 20 hours a week from your time. But you and me sat down this January, and we really we were just both in a mental position, because you also own a business, obviously. We're both in like a mental and physical position where we're treading water, is how we felt. Like we're not really making progress on our growth. So we sat down, literally, I'm not kidding, with a whiteboard and we had like this long meeting where we're like, okay, how does this look? And I made a spreadsheet with the next 8 years of like goals and like whatever, and we kind of like connected the dots on just how we get there.
100%.
And that was really like, I think it's very like, that was the impetus of like my mind shifting to a lot of this, where I was content to just do what I was doing. But I saw this TikTok recently that was like, you want to be a $10 million company, but you want your company not to look like the other $10 million companies. Like, you want to make $10 million, but you don't want to have a board of directors. You don't want to have an accounting, like a big accounting firm as your accountant. You don't want to do, the things that all required that you look at every other company that size, they're all doing.
Yeah.
Like, you're not so special. And then the metaphor was like, you go to an airport and all the planes from different brands look basically the same because that's what flies. And all the companies that make, $10 million plus all have a board and all do this with the accountant and all do this because that's what works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So my operations right now are around between 1.2 and 1.5 million is what we'll do this year. And I want to get to that 10 million or whatever, right? I don't have any like any set number goals. I just want to do constant. I want to do bigger next year than I did this year every year.
Any amount of growth, I think, is important for sure.
But right now I'm not focused on growth, but more focused on just the optimization of the job. Mm-hmm. So I guess we can kind of talk about what we talked about in that meeting where we were
definitely.
I guess what was your biggest takeaway from that for your personal what you're doing?
Well, I think just now when you're talking about the being content with what you're doing, I think you and I are to some extent creatures of habit, where it's it's very easy for at least me to kind of get into a routine, get in the daily slog of every day in, day out. And I think that in the meeting, that was something where we were both kind of okay, but if we do want to grow, it has to be uncomfortable. Yeah. We have to do things that are, that's outside of our comfort zone, that seem a little bit scary, but it's we don't want to be, the one thing I always go back to was when you first bought business number 2, stamp company. And when it was just the two of us, and we were sitting on the floor in one of the rooms being what are we doing?
Yeah.
What did we get ourselves into? This is crazy. And I think it was that also was a good turning point for me too.
That was
but it was also do I want to do that for the next 10 years?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I want to see these companies grow. I want to see us grow. I want to see how far we can get. But yeah, just like you were saying, it's we need that structure. We need that the management. We need more people on our team. We can't be the only ones.
Yeah. And I think that's a good segue into what I was going to say next, which is
perfect.
I've had a lot of control issues with my businesses where I didn't want to give up the day-to-day.
Yeah, 100%.
I wanted to be there doing stuff for all 3 businesses because I wanted to make sure that it was done quote-unquote right, and done my way. I think something else that's given me perspective is this third company that I have that I bought in 2025 was founded in the year 1911. This is 115 years old. And I had this thought where it was well, how could I be doing it? Doing it is the correct way, where it's had, I think, 8 big relevant owners over the last 100 years.
Yeah, 100%.
And hundreds and hundreds of employees. And I'm the one that's doing it correct, No, I'm just doing it this time, right now. And that really helped as well, where I'm okay, well, it's survived this long. You know what I mean?
Well, and if you're finding ways to optimize it, in a more modern sense, I know you guys changed a lot of stuff to kind of suit more modern technology, speed up along some processes. That's realistically, that's what you want to do in a business that you acquire that's over 100 years old, right?
Yeah. And I think I don't know, I kind of want to take what you said, where we were sitting on the floor. I remember that moment too, where we were is this what I want to be doing for the next 10 years? I want to say I'm don't even think of it like that. I don't care what I have to do, but it's the business isn't going to grow or survive if I'm doing this for the next 10 years.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. I've never been one. I'm kind of always harsh reality with this, which is shut up, work harder kind of thing, where I'm did you think it was going to be easy to be an entrepreneur? This is me talking to myself or to any other entrepreneurs that are complaining. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I'm the opposite of where I'm I think workers should have a lot of rights and time off and all that stuff. But I'm if you want to be the one that makes the risk to in theory make the big bucks, and you want to be the business owner and the entrepreneur. Shut up. Like,
Yeah.
maybe you do have to do this for the next 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I have no sympathy for you.
Yeah.
Basically talking to myself.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And but more importantly, like in that line of thinking, is the business going to benefit from me doing this for the next 10 years? And I think what we really figured out in January of this year, even 6 months ago, was like, no.
Yeah.
Like the business that we want to build, that we have in our heads, is not going to be able to function if we're just treating it like this, right? So that's where I kind of ended up. And then that moment, that day where we had that meeting, we really made a plan, and then we've been executing on the plan. So we basically doubled the amount of staff that we have.
Yeah.
We hired multiple full-time employees. So we have 3 full-time at business number shared between 2 and 3. 3 full-time, 1 part-time there, and then 2 full-time plus you full-time at number 1.
Yep.
And then plus the owners, and then we have a bunch of part-time people working at the winery on the farm and doing production and whatnot. But we really shifted, and we had our meeting first, but then we had a staff meeting with my business partner as well to kind of go over, because
and solidify everything
for context as well, like you don't actually have equity in these businesses or anything like that.
And like realistically, ours was also just kind of like it's like grind set meeting.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an actual like
it wasn't a business.
Here's how you should structure your company. It was just like, where do we want ourselves personally to grow?
Yeah.
So I mean,
and we're if it's not obvious, we're quite close in real life. And you're the person I talk about this kind of stuff with.
Yeah.
So then the 3 of us sat down with my business partner, and we kind of came up with here's esoterically what we want. What does this look like to get to?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, this was 6 months ago. At that point, the 3 of us were bartending basically all the shifts at business number 1, and then we were also at business number 2 and 3 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Running and like doing the computer work and like the manufacturing and stuff that like you do, like whatever. Mm-hmm. So we hired enough full-time bartenders to cover the bar completely, so that none of us have to bartend at all anymore. And then we'll get to that. And then we hired 2 full-time people at the stamp company, plus the other 3rd full-time person, the woman who's been at the company for 40 years. So the 3 full-time there now to run everything. And then as of like today, I'm still going in multiple days a week, but we're kind of transitioning out of it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's how it is, right? Like, I mean, you can't just expect things to change immediately. And then also too, we could like kind of lump bakery into it as well. That was part of our meeting. I talked about this, like, was it last week or
whatever?
Whatever. Also hired someone there.
Yeah.
Because while also working for your companies, running back and forth doing bakery stuff too. And it just like, it physically wasn't possible. And so like that's been great too.
Yeah, so I hope that wasn't too in the weeds of like my context for everything. I hope you're still listening to this.
You just like skip.
Yeah, basically the point being, we basically doubled our workforce between the whole operation, even if like 2.5 times our workforce, which obviously is scary. Went from payroll to about $5,000, between $5,000 and $8,000 a month, to now like $30,000 a month.
Yeah, it's a jump.
It's a big jump, obviously. And I remember in that first staff meeting we had, Zach, my business partner, was kind of like, I don't know if we can afford all of that. And then I was literally just like, I don't think we can afford not to do all that. Mm-hmm. Like we really, because all the growth that we've seen over the last few years in the business, especially on like the event side of the bar and everything, has come from me and you having extra time to like focus and come up with new things.
Yeah.
And then we lost a couple members of staff, and we didn't replace them because we were kind of going through a tough time financially, and we just picked up the slack. And you can like draw a line from those days to like reduced growth because we haven't been working as much on that, and it's just like we're like, this isn't working. Like we're not growing anymore. And if I want to just make $1 million a year and do that forever, fine. That's not what we want to do, and we want to grow, and this is what we got to do it. So yeah, I don't know. So we're trying to all take a step back. You've moved into more of a, I guess your title is bar manager, but you're basically managing all the front-facing parts of the winery of business number one.
Yeah.
So you do all the scheduling and systems, and then a menu for the kitchen.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff, and then you do the hours and scheduling for the not the. You help with the samplers and market people. You do their hours and whatever, but then Zach does the scheduling.
Yeah, he schedules some of the events, I guess. There's so many sampling stuff right now.
Well, some of it's we're still kind of on legacy, like because I schedule all the farmers markets still.
Yeah.
Zach schedules all the samplings, and then you do the schedule to make sure they're getting paid and everything.
Yeah,
So.
and then like try to make sure they're set up for success.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. There's still a lot of overlap, but I mean, it's like leagues away.
We're working on it, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's also been like, I mean, and maybe we'll touch on it a little bit later too, but I think that's also something that I've been like, when I want something, I want it now.
Yeah, and that's something
it's been a lesson in patience.
That's something I've really tried to hammer in your head, where I'm like, we're on the right path, but you've been doing, like, excuse me, but you've been doing this as an entrepreneur for 3 years.
Thanks.
Like, let's,
All right.
So
I've been an employee for longer.
What's the next point on your thing there? While she brings that up, I'm just going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. This episode of Mentored is sponsored by Cooking Implements, the best handmade knives and other kitchen utensils that money can buy. He'll definitely ship, but I'm not sure if it's worldwide. Who knows? Cooking Implements, cook.imps on Instagram. Give him a message and a follow. Thank you, Cooking Implements, for sponsoring this episode.
Yet another one. What an honor it is.
Anyway, what's the next point there?
Okay. So people are possibly harder to deal with than just doing the actual work.
I think that was an act. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong.
I can get into it.
That came from the Snapchat you sent me. That was just like you basically crying, saying, "Why do I have to manage as a manager?"
Hold on. You always make it sound so much worse. I said,
never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Crazy guy. It was just a week where all of the staff needed something, and it was fine. You know what I mean? Like, nothing was actually like wrong. I was just like, dang, when the manager actually has to manage, I was like, why do I have to figure all this out now?
Yeah.
Where I was like, but it did take me a little bit to be like, okay, like, let me explain to like everybody why we do something a certain way, or stay firm in the systems that we created, fix things as they come up, like, and it was very hard for me not to just be like, I'll just deal with it when I get in, I'll just whatever,
right, yeah.
Because we want to teach people how to handle things. Like, I think that's a good story that you always tell, and you'll probably tell it better than me, but where an employee calls you and they're like, oh, I need help with this, and you're like, okay, just, I'm busy, call,
Yeah, my friend does this, and I don't know.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, my friend does this. I think he got it from somewhere, but I don't know where. I think he got it from a book or something. That when his employees call him, because it's in lawn care. I was gonna say lawn removal, snow removal and lawn care. So he has 30 employees, and they're all driving around doing mowing lawns and whatever. He said whenever an employee calls him with a question that he thinks that they should be able to figure out, he says, hold on, I got someone on the other line, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. or 15 minutes or whatever it is.
Mm.
Hangs up, calls them back in 15 minutes or whatever, and then 10 out of 10 times they're like, never mind, I figured it out. Maybe 99 out of 100, let's say.
And like stuff
because
like that.
The ethos is, the thought is, a lot of these people are capable of making their own decisions, but they're either scared of making the wrong one, or they just like, they're looking for permission to do something. And by letting them just think it out, because what are they going to do? Sit there for 15 minutes and just twiddle their thumbs? They got a route to do. So they're going to figure it out. And then he says that really helps their problem solving. And next time when that comes up, they're not going to ask. Yeah. They're just going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, and I think it also, like, you also just want people to feel, like, you want them to feel confident and competent in the job that they're doing. At least, like, that's how I would want to feel as an employee. So it's like stuff like that makes sense, right? It's like that I want our employees to be able to, like, figure out why we do something and, you know, do it the way that we would like it done. But then also, like, they don't have to ask us like a million questions all the time. And yeah, I just had a week where I was like, dang, I felt like a manager, because I've had like the title of a manager for a while, but it wasn't until I think a couple weeks ago where it was just like almost every single day there was just like something that I was like, that I was doing the same thing where, like, usually I would just call you and be like, what do I tell them, what do I do? But then I just figured it out.
And so, I think that's been a big thing for both of us. But I think I can only speak to how I feel, but like, sure, the trusting that our people are smart, and trusting that we have good staff, and trusting them to be able to do it. Because in another world, I'd be wanting to micromanage. Not even like, a few years ago, if you did something without checking with me first, I would have been like, why didn't you call me? I should have made the last call. But now I'm really trying to get out of that, where I'm like, just trust my people, trust the systems that we've created. Yeah.
And even if it doesn't work out,
it's like not the end of the world,
it's
right?
It's like, you know,
and that's
what I mean?
Like gave me so much anxiety, and it still kind of does.
Yeah, it's
but
a process.
It's a process, and it's like, I don't know. So that's like the biggest habit I'm trying to break this year, is micromanaging, and like just needing to be involved in everything in every part of the business.
Yeah, I think trust is a big thing.
Yeah,
because I think, like, if anything, maybe I do more of like the people management of business number one. But I mean, I think you do a lot of people managing at the stamp. Stamp factories.
Yeah, for sure. I do.
I mean, that makes sense. Where it's like at some point you just kind of have to like let go and let things happen and just figure it out as it comes, and trust your people. Yeah. Which can be hard when it's just been, you know, you and another person for a really, really long time. Should I touch on the next point?
Yeah, let's go.
Do we have another sponsor?
Yes, I do. This episode is sponsored by Drunk Dividends, unconventional finance and business content. Follow us on Twitter or x.com/drunkdividends for some business content. And they're totally not owned by me as well.
Nice. Okay. I guess so we already kind of touched on like what the timeline looks like, is that we don't really have. So I feel like we can kind of
better than yesterday, not as good as tomorrow. That's what I always say.
Amazing. And then maybe we can put these into two. One of them is the setbacks with 2 question marks, and then do I even have my time back with 4 question marks.
I guess let's start there, because that's the more pressing one.
And those are all my bullet points. So I think,
sometimes it does feel like you're working more, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, and not that, again, like, was touching back on it, not that we were like, oh my god, we're gonna have so much free time, we could sleep it. That's the only thing I can think of.
No.
With my free time.
No.
We could golf.
Yeah, we were never, when we had that meeting where we were like figuring out how we were gonna, it was never like that. It was never like, we work 100 hours a week, we need to get that down to 40 stat. Yeah. It was never like that. Anyone who knows us knows that's laughable. But what it
not
was,
that there's anything wrong with it. All right, for us,
it
personally.
Just but so it was never like that. But it was more of, we're just doing the wrong things.
Yeah.
So I make that joke too, where I've told, my farmer's market neighbor or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, we hired another bartender. Oh, so you get the Saturday off now? That's what they always say. And it's like, no, I have this habit of, as soon as I replace some of my job, I find more job to do, right? And there's always something to be done.
There's so much to do.
But my main point through this whole process has been, it's like my time, and not even that my time is better, because like I think that's like a pejorative almost. Like that's being like, I'm so much smarter than my staff, so I should be focusing on growing the business. I don't like that line of thinking, because that's not even what I'm saying. Is like everybody kind of has a part to play, and as the founder and as kind of the direction guy, the part that I need to play is one of like keeping the ship, like keeping our heading, right?
Yeah. I mean, like the vision, right? Like no one's gonna have a better vision for the company than the founder.
And they shouldn't, like that's not what I'm paying them for.
Yeah, exactly.
So so the part like it's not even like, because I'll hear people say, oh, it's not worth my time to do. And I'm trying to get away from falling into that trap where I'm like, it's not necessarily that's not worth my time. It's just that's not the job I need to play right now.
Yeah.
And what I need to do, because I really want to, now that we kind of have our feet below us, like we've really been in survival mode for a while, decades. Like it was the startup with no money, and then COVID shutting us down. And then we, in the same year, a big move and renovation project along with buying a company was like really put us close to bankruptcy. I'm not sure if it was the closest we've ever gotten. I think we've gotten closer before, but it was the closest with the most to lose at that point.
Yeah.
And now a couple years later, when we kind of have our feet under us again, I'm really like looking at the horizon here and being like, all right, there's something here. Like there's something that we're capable of, and we just need to get along to that plan. And what I was doing with my time every day was not getting us there. Yeah.
No, I mean that's kind of how it goes, right?
So to answer your question, do you have any of your time back? No, I don't think so.
Oh, not even.
And
not even close.
But then like what I'm trying to say with all of that is that I don't think you deserve your time back. Like I don't think not that was me being funny, but like my point being, I don't think that's what we were looking for. I don't think when we sat down and had that meeting, I don't think we sat down and being like, how do I get my time back? I really think that we sat down and said, okay, how do I get the business in this direction?
Yeah.
So I don't think I don't think we got our time back, and I don't think we should have.
I think I got my time back in a more productive way.
Yeah.
In ways that I feel, and again, only speaking for me, but I think it mentally, the stuff that we were doing and that we were having to do was so draining that I feel like I didn't have enough time or mental capacity to work on like, because like a lot of my like side of the business too is doing a lot of planning that brings in you as well. I mean, but it brings in a lot of people, a lot of sales.
Yeah.
And I just like did not have the space in my brain.
Yeah.
After, bartending 4 days a week, doing the ribbons, doing stamps, and baking. And I feel like having a little bit more flexibility with picking and choosing what to spend my time on. I think I still work, like
even more maybe.
Like it's long days, especially in the summertime. It's our busiest time, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like I've gotten it back in a healthier
like mental load
and productive way. Like I do genuinely feel the best mentally I think I've felt in like in a couple of years.
Because I also like I joke, I kid a lot about how I work 18 hours a day and how I'm built different. Like other people get tired, I don't. Like whatever. It's it affects me too.
Yeah.
Like
man.
I'm just I'm being facetious for the most part. It affects me as well. And even if I am working those hours, which I am, it does. I agree 100%. It like affects your mental load, where I don't have like the mental capacity to do the growing part of my business. It's like, well, I don't want to set a meeting, a high risk, not high risk, but like, I'm trying to think of a hypothetical, like a new partnership, but I have to impress them. Otherwise, I'm not going to get that partnership. And it's like, am I going to, like, when would I schedule those meetings, man? I'm tired. And I'm going to look bad and then ruin the meeting and like close that door to us because I'm like, so then instead of like taking days off here for something like that, or doing it tired or whatever, if those are my two options, I did the secret third option, which is just don't schedule them. Just don't have them at all. Don't reach out to new people. Don't try to expand the business because I don't want to half-ass it, basically, right? And that's something that we're not quite there, but I'm really trying to get us there where we're like, our mental load is low enough that we can function.
I mean, and I think you just don't realize how much it like has piled on until you're like,
until you get out of it.
Until like you just said, you can't even schedule a meeting.
Right. Well, that was a hypothetical.
No, but it's that's a good hypothetical.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of ties into, like, obviously there's been some setbacks. There's been,
of course,
we're not completely out of it. And I don't think we ever really will unless we like scale a lot.
Like,
and that is what it is.
Just so I can manifest it. Like the idea is we would keep hiring more people below us and then move more people up, right? Like because I also like my holding company, the Willows consortium that owns my shares of the three companies that I own. I want it to build it into a permanent equity company, I would call it, which is something like a Berkshire Hathaway or a Brookfield Corporation or a Fairfax, or a company that buys entire parts of companies and then operates them and, whatever. And that's what I want to turn my company into. And the idea would be to like, hire more people at kind of the bottom rung. And then your bar manager becomes the manager, the general manager for the business. And then the general manager from the business moves up and becomes the district manager for all the Winnipeg businesses. And the district manager becomes and then you have a board with different departments and, people and all this. And it's like, that's what I want to create in the future. And just, it doesn't work. I'm saying that too often, but it's like, it doesn't work the way we were doing it.
No.
So I think
change was necessary,
and
it goes back to the patience thing too, right? There's always going to be some setbacks. There's always going to be like we still bartend,
we're talking in this grandiose scales where I'm like, I want to be as big as Berkshire Hathaway, who has $100 billion in cash, but it's like, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that's like my aspirations of where I want to take the company, and right now the reality is we have 10 employees or whatever. So if one of them is sick, one of us needs to go cover me or you, basically. So there's often, like, throughout the last few weeks, there's been one day a week where one of us is going to go cover something because it just needs to happen. So it's like, we're not in that situation yet where we're like, I'm the CEO, I don't do any of that stuff. It's like, we're still on the ground, we're still in the trenches. But the idea is to kind of set our mindset, number one, but number two, the kind of like, we know the goals of what we need to do to get to where we want to go.
I think we've created like a bless you. I think it's like we created like a light at the end of that for me. It's not like so much a tunnel, so I don't know what the right metaphor is. But I feel like, I don't know, it's been a lot easier to like carry the mental load. And you have to know your business. Like we can't just like, you can't just walk away. And just be like, all right, you guys got this.
No, of course not.
So it's like, I don't know, I'm glad that we have the building blocks for it.
Because that's something I've seen firsthand, and that doesn't work, is like the owner that thinks they're too good to do everything, and then just hires people and leaves. And then it's like the company has no direction, the company has no training, and the managers don't know what they're doing, and then they inevitably fail. So I've seen that multiple times firsthand. And I don't want to fall into a trap where I'm like getting lazy because I'm like,
Yeah,
well, I'm the boss, so now I can just go on vacations because I have people working. I really want to make sure that all the time that I'm gaining is going back into being just something
yeah,
different.
and productive, and like, you know, that you're still enjoying it. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's, I don't know. Maybe I care more about that than you do. I want to have fun. I like it. I want to enjoy it. I think I touched on everything.
To
Should I
quote
double check?
to quote Ben Affleck in Boiler Room, "You don't think I'm happy? Look at the fucking smile on my face." He's like not smiling, ear to ear, baby.
It's just like that's how you talk. I fear. Yeah, that was all my bullet points.
Okay, well we've been going for 40 minutes, so
40 minutes.
yeah.
Dang.
I mean we'll have to cut it down a little bit.
Thank gosh we have sponsors this time.
No kidding. Well, thank you. Did I answer all your questions? I guess for this.
Yeah, I feel like we just kind of yapped about it a little bit. Do you feel like therapized?
Yeah, I hope you guys found that a little bit interesting. We would love to hear from you, where you kind of want more topics to cover. We like to obviously this is like personal for me and Alyssa, where it's like genuine mentorship conversations that we want to have,
Yeah.
but we want to make sure that the content is also relevant to you guys as entrepreneurs. So let us know in the comments. You can watch on YouTube, Spotify, and then if you want these episodes early and some bonus content, you can check out x.com/drunkdividends, also a sponsor of this episode,
Thank you.
which is the media company that I own that owns this podcast. So it's a whole. Every so often I tweet a flow chart of all the. It's kind of complicated with. It's all for tax reasons. I have companies that own companies that own companies that own companies, so it's fine. I have a good accountant. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching if you're watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Oh.